Okay. All right, guys. So we are live today, and my name is Linda from Echelon Academy. I am glad that you were able to join us. I'm not able to really see who is on or who is not on right now, but we are live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube. This is also going to be recorded for those people that emailed me and told me that they can't make it, but they want a recording of it due to everything that's been going on. So before we even begin, I'd like to kind of give you guys an update of what's going on in our community. So, as you guys know, my community right now is going through a lot. Recently, we have had 2 African-American males who were found hanging from a tree with a rope around their neck. So we have had rioting and looting. We have had COVID-19. So it's really been very difficult to get on and do things like this because everyone has got, other priorities right now. And that is, everything that you see that is going on in television. But of course, we feel like we still have to bring this information to you because this is still important. And, we all have things that we want to do outside of everything that is going on. So I hope you will enjoy this. Our topic for today is pathways to nursing, traditional and non-traditional ways. So this session is good today for 1, if you are a nurse and you want to further your education. 2, if you are a student having some issues getting into nursing programs. 3, if you're an individual that knows someone that is having a difficult time trying to get into nursing programs. This is perfect. Save this. It will be on my Facebook Facebook page on the wall. I won't take it down for quite some time, but I will have to take it down eventually. Otherwise, things just keep piling up on there. Save it and share it with someone, maybe someone that's interested in the profession or that's discouraged because they think it's going to take too long and the process is just too involving. But also, this is also good if you're someone who's looking to migrate to the United States and you are looking at, different ways of becoming a nurse while you are here or furthering your education. So yeah, whether you're a nurse or a student, this is going to be for you, and it's actually going to be very interesting. So when you are, a student or someone that's interested in going to college or pursuing a certain degree, you usually have to sit down with a guidance counselor that will sit down with you and they will guide you and show you the way, show you exactly what you have to do. The first question they'll ask you is, well, what do you want to be? Well, if you tell them, I'd like to be a nurse, the next thing that they will do is here's a list of all the nursing schools in the area, and here are all the prerequisites. All you have to do is finish these prerequisites, and then you get into nursing school. They don't really go into looking at your situation and what some of your needs are, okay? Which is where a lot of people get stuck. And that's what we are going to talk about today. So I am going to switch over into a PowerPoint presentation because I want you guys to see some things, and I really want to highlight certain things for you guys, okay? So give me a second while I switch over to our PowerPoint, and then we shall begin, okay? All right, as we talked about, so today's topic is going to be nursing pathways, traditional and the non-traditional ways. So you want to be a nurse. Just note, there are different types of nurses, right? Some of us are nurses already. We already know that. We already know that there's LVNs. In some countries, it's called, maybe the diploma nurses or the enrolled nurses. There's the RN diploma nurses. These RNs, they are RNs, but they actually don't have a degree. They have a diploma as an RN. Then we have the RNs that have the ADN and the RNs that have the BSN. We also have the specializations in nurses. When we come to nurse practitioners and CRNAs, these nurses have their master's degree. Obviously, that also includes, the nurse educators and so forth, right? And then we have the PhD and the DNP students, okay? All of these have one thing in common. They're all nurses. They all have to be nurses in order to have this. Now, the PhD is an exception because did you know that you do not actually have to be a nurse in a lot of states, and actually a lot of programs are there for people who don't have a nursing degree, but they're actually able to have a PhD in nursing, which I think is just great. We're going to start with the LVNs for today. LVNs, nurses, LVNs are your backbone. I know a lot of times they don't teach us this in nursing school, but as RNs, the nursing profession, we cannot survive without LVNs. Currently, there are over 730,000 jobs available in the United States for LVNs. These are like the enrolled nurses. The job outlook is absolutely amazing. It's at an 11% growth. And they make on average, a national average of what I'm seeing is $22 an hour. Now, if you look at it, some people may say, whoa, that's too much. Yes, because in some states like Texas, RNs get paid $22 an hour, right? Depending on where you live in Texas and some of these other states, these are how low some of the salaries can be, depending. Like I said, it varies, okay? Because I know some people may get upset when I say that. Yes, the RNs making $50, $60, $75 an hour, but let's not forget about the small time RNs that are making less than $25 an hour in this day and age, okay? So what it is, 1 year of education as an LVN, meaning, right, you go to school for 1 year, okay, and you're now making over $40,000 US a year. This is absolutely insane, right? For 1 year of nursing. So, and you get your diploma. There are people out there, right? And I say this is important because the job outlook is so great. There are people out there with PhDs, masters, all sorts of degrees that are unemployed. If you fall into this category, you need to start thinking outside of the box. You need to start, nurses, you really need to start showing some of these people things like this, you know, because there's no reason for someone who has a master's or a doctorate to be sitting at home unemployed, struggling, when they can go back to school and get a diploma as an LVN, immediately start working and putting food on the table. This is such a great option that we have, right? LVNs are essential workers. Nurses, stop saying LVNs are not real nurses. Stop saying enrolled nurses are not real nurses because they don't have an RN title behind their name. They are. Now, this is why I say this, right? Let's look at where LVNs mostly work. They like to work at the skilled nurse facilities, all the nursing homes. Do RNs, the ones that are listening, do you want to work in a skilled nursing facility? Imagine if we did not have these amazing LVNs to fill in all these gaps where we need them to work. You would have to go work in all of these areas, right? And nobody wants to do it, which means these patients that are in all these areas, these people that need them would not get the health care that they need. So LVNs absolutely serve a very important place when it comes to healthcare, and we need them. We absolutely need them, right? They can go to public school to go get their diploma, or they can go to private school. I definitely, in public school, like the community colleges, right? They have all the LVN programs. Now, I will say, if someone is looking into this program, there are waiting lists. This is the cheapest option, but there are waiting lists, okay? So this is something that someone has to definitely consider, that they might be on a waiting list for quite a bit of time. Whereas if they go to a private school, I started off as an LVN. I don't think you guys know my story. I started off as an LVN, okay? And when I went to LVN school, it was just something that was, you know, I needed something at the time. And I went down there to the school one day and I looked, right? I looked at it and I spoke to someone. They said, well, you just have to take a test, a math test, an English test. I took the test, I passed the test, and they told me, you're gonna start next week, Monday. I started a year later, I was an LVN and I was financially independent. Where a year before, I was not. So that's my story, right? So private schools, you're gonna pay a little bit more money, but it's quick, straight to the point. Whereas a public school, you now have to wait through all sorts of waiting lists, okay? So this is great. Like I said, nurses, share this with your family, even your kids, if they're 18, struggling, not knowing what they want to do. Share this with them, you know? This is an option, you know, for parents who have got, or people that know someone that needs something to do, right? Rather than being on unemployment all the time and putting in 100 job applications and still getting declined. This is excellent. This is an excellent choice of a career. Let's not look down on the LVNs. They are absolutely amazing, right? Okay. So, like I said, this is an excellent choice. So I'm going to, let's move on now, because I know I can spend a lot of time on this subject because I am really, really passionate about this subject. Okay. So let's see here. 1 second, guys. Let me just do something here. I'm going to change my screen real quickly. And then we shall move on. Okay. Next, right? Next, we've got the RNs. We've got the diploma, right? This is someone who, the diploma RN does not have an associate's or bachelor's degree, okay? But they are an RN. They went to school for a certain amount of time and they took their Nclex and they got their RN diploma. Very few states at this time that I know of actually have this option. It's very difficult to find these programs right now, but they are still out there. I did look up in California, there's quite a few. So the diploma RNs do not have a degree. Now, another name for this program is called the LVN 30 unit option because it's 30 units that you take and you become an RN. Okay, so it just varies. The length of time actually varies. I think I've seen some where they said, oh, 12 months but I think the minimum that I'm seeing is about 18 months, or it can be as long as 24 months. This all depends on whether you are full-time or you are part-time, correct? So the only drawback about this, you guys, you can consider this option, but the only drawback about this option is that it is not recognized statewide. So in other words, you have a diploma, you don't have a degree. In California, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to go to Arizona and endorse that license into different states. So this may not be a good option for someone that's looking to go to a different state in the future, right? This is definitely not it. And also, it's not a good option for someone who wants to work, in like a magnet hospital, let's say like a UCLA, right? Because most of these magnet hospitals, they want you to have a bachelor's degree. And nurses that are overseas listening to this right now, you need to understand that right now, the norm is for you to have a bachelor's degree. Okay, so as you're considering nursing school, you really need to look into getting your bachelor's degree. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, a great thing is you need to see if you can go back to school and get that bachelor's degree. Okay, it's going to make you more marketable when it comes to jobs, and especially when you migrate here, it'll be easier for you, right, to transition into this American, Canadian, wherever it is that you want to go. You definitely want a bachelor's degree at this point. So what are the prerequisites that these the schools have to take? Well, they have to take anatomy and physiology, micro, English courses, some of the basic courses that are pretty much required by all the other programs. And also they have to take a T score, right? An ATI score. So, and for some of those that don't understand what that is, you are going to be tested your math, your English, your sciences, right? They're going to test you to figure out, what knowledge you have. Based on how well you do on these scores, you'll be put into a certain category, right? Because the way most of these schools out here work is they score you. So based on how well you do, you'll be put into a certain category, and you have to meet a certain mark in order to be able to apply into that program. Okay, so that's really the gist of the RN diploma program. I definitely don't, when I'm advising my clients, I don't advise them to go this route because it's very limiting, but it is an option. If you don't have anything else, and you feel like, I don't care, then probably this is the one for you. But you have to weigh out all your options, the pros and the cons, okay, and understand that it is not respected at this time. When someone does not have a degree, they're just an RN, it's kind of looked down on within the profession. So you might get a lot of people look down on you because of the option that you actually chose. So you definitely have to think twice before using this option. All right. Let's move on, guys. I don't want to spend too much time because we've got a lot of information to cover. Just giving you guys a little bit of background until we get right to what we are supposed to get into. All right. Next up. All right. So we're going to look at the RN program, some of the issues that we see within the RN programs. One of the issues here, and I hope everybody agrees with me, because I definitely think it's true what I'm going to talk about right now, is that, you know, we need a system, guys, when it comes to these RN programs, because it doesn't make any sense for, let's say, 100 schools to have prerequisite requirements, and then you have 100 schools that have different prerequisite requirements, right? What am I saying? So someone that wants to apply to an RN program, you're usually not going to apply to 1 or 2 schools because it's very competitive these days. Everyone wants to be an essential worker, especially now that they've seen with you know, what's happening, right? I can't say the word, with what is happening, that people are out of work, but the people that are working are the doctors and the nurses. So everyone wants to go into the healthcare field, right? Everyone wants to be an essential worker. So it's very competitive. So, you know, you're going to find that people are applying into 3, 4, 5 different schools, you know, just to make themselves, you know, just to see if they can get in somewhere, right? So the issue with the RN programs is if you're applying to 5 different schools, you now have potentially 5 different prerequisite lists that you have to fill. This is something that we definitely have to change. I feel as though our boards, at least if we can start within our states, right? To say, let's say in the state of California, the Board of Nursing is going to standardize the prerequisites to say that all schools, you know, that have an RN program, these are the prerequisites that are going to be required for every single student. But right now, that is not the case. You're finding that one school wants you to have a physical education class in order to get into RN school, and the other one doesn't want you to have a physical education class, right? So when you hear of someone who's, you know, I'm sure some of you have heard this, I'm trying to get into RN school, or I'm working on getting into the RN program right now, and they're just, you keep hearing them say the same thing. You guys need to understand what they're trying to tell you is they are trying to get through this hurdle of completing these prerequisites that are just these long lists of classes that they have to take in order to qualify to get into certain courses. Okay, that's exactly what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to complete their prerequisite courses. This process can take anywhere from, you know, 2 years, 3 years, you know. Let me show you why. So here I have a list for you, right? I pulled this from one of the schools, and I think this is good for some of the foreign nurses to see how nursing works here as well if you're watching, right? Algebra. Now you need anatomy and physiology 1, anatomy and physiology 2. Okay. Now, in a lot of schools, you'll find that before you even take this anatomy and physiology 1, they want you to have a biology class. So now you'll have to go spend time taking the prerequisite for that class, a biology class. It says here you need intro to organic chemistry. Okay, but a lot of schools will say, well, before you take intro to organic chemistry, you need to take your, you know, Chem 1, general chemistry 1, general chemistry 2. Then you'll qualify to take organic chemistry. Are you guys seeing what I'm getting at? You need to take intro to biochem. Well, before you take that, you need to definitely do your organic chemistry before you take that. Or microbiology, you need a basic microbiology course before you even take that. It becomes tedious. It becomes tedious. A lot of people just give up along the way, just trying to complete these prerequisites, right? Biochemistry. Why on earth do we need biochemistry right now? And, you know, I'm pretty much frank, and a lot of people are not going to agree with what I have to say as nurses, but I truly believe that these prerequisites are being added all the time to make it more, you know, to, how do I put it without sounding offending, to kind of push out some applicants, right? Because if you can't pass biochemistry, hey, you can't be a nurse, right? Hey, just the process of getting to the point where you can take a biochemistry course, well, you would have had to get through maybe organic chemistry or something. And so we're going to rule you out. It's kind of a way to weed people out of the profession. Why? Because this is an amazing profession, guys. Why do I say that? Right now, you have nurses pulling six figures, right? $200,000-$300,000, and these are nurses. So the higher ups, we are trying to weed out the weak, right? The ones that cannot pass. I know I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it from a lot of people, but it is what it is, guys. Okay. So these prerequisites can take someone a long time. The competition is stiff. The competition is stiff. You will hear people say they are failing to get into RN school, number one, right? You're competing against people that have 4.0s. Now we have people that, couldn't get into med school. They've got 4.0s, biology degrees. Now they're applying for RN school. It's just a complete mess. And it can be so discouraging for so many people who are trying to get into RN schools. And I'm speaking, I don't know about your different states, but I am in California, and this is the situation here. Guys, so be understanding to people when they tell you that they aren't going to RN school, they're trying to complete the prerequisites, and it looks like they're taking longer. Open up your minds, guys. It's not like it was 10, 15 years ago. It's different. It's very, very difficult for them. So when someone actually completes that process and gets into RN school, they need an applause, because they have done a great, an excellent thing that is difficult for many, many people. All right. What are some shortcuts? I'm going to teach you guys some secrets. So too bad for those who missed it or those who are not here. But for those of you that are going to actually be here and take this, you guys share this with your loved ones that are struggling to finish school. Share this with them, right? For those of you that are thinking of migrating here to the US and doing nursing, excellent choice. Come here, because there are companies that are still sponsoring nurses. They're still sponsoring nurses, especially in the rural communities, to work. When you have an RN degree, when you have that Nclex, when you pass Nclex and you're a foreign nurse and you want to come work here, there are so many doors that can open for you. Don't listen to the naysayers that tell you that it's not happening because of COVID-19 or, see guys, I try not to say it, but because of that, I'm gonna have to try and bleep it out. Because of that, or because of whoever is in power, forget all of that, right? They're still looking for you. They are still looking for you. So you need to start thinking ahead, looking at your future, but the different pathways, shortcuts. You got to learn, guys. You got to learn, right? So for those of you that are struggling, or if you know someone that's struggling to finish these prerequisites, I'll give you an example. I know a young gentleman, right, that I was working with, and he was trying to do the accelerated program, meaning he had another degree, right? He was doing something else as a career and now wanted to to be a nurse. Well, we have a pathway for that. So he got into, an RN program, but before they said, well, you need to first take all of these, courses, and one of them, he passed most of them, struggled with some of them, but micro, he just couldn't do it. And he needed the class right away, guys. He needed it. And now let me tell you how this works in a lot of community colleges, right? For you to get into like micro or anatomy and physiology, those classes are full. Those classes are packed, like it's almost impossible. So you may try to go and apply to enroll in the course, and the class is already full. So what do? The classes, are you just gonna give up? So you find that people are wasting time because they cannot even get into a prerequisite class because it's so packed. Everyone is doing sciences now, right? So I said, okay, well, I'm going to teach you a trick. I know the school you're going to go, you're going to take it there. And, you're going to take your microbiology class online. They're going to send you a lab kit. You have to purchase a lab kit, and you'll be doing the labs at home on your own with guidance. And he did it. He passed. He got into his program. Voila, he got his BSN as a nurse. He's working, functioning, doing very, very well. Someone else might have just quit and said, well, I failed it, so nursing's over for me. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, that's why people out there like myself are there, because we're here to tell you that there's other ways that you can take, right? And I personally don't care. You know, people can email me and tell me, you know, don't teach people these things, shortcuts or whatever. But you know what? Yeah, no, right? So look at my screen, guys. What are some of the shortcuts? You can test out of certain classes. You can test out of certain classes. There's no reason why you as an adult, right? If you're an adult, right, should quit your job to take English, to take psychology, to take sociology. You can test out of these classes. It is called CLEP. Well, back then we used to call it clepping. Some of you guys know what that is, okay? This is where you get the information, right, in a packet. Let's say you're going to test out of psychology. You get the information, everything you need to know about psychology class, right? You study on your own, you teach yourself, and then you go and then you take the exam and you pass the exam, right? 2 weeks. Study the information. 2 weeks later, you pass, you're given credit. You're given credit 2 weeks that would have taken you 4 months, right? A semester to complete. And you didn't have to quit your day job, right? You didn't have to neglect your children. You managed. Clapping. I've tested maybe out of 7 classes. Yes, I tested out of sociology. I tested out of psychology. I'm just thinking, guys, I tested out of a lot of courses, okay? A lot of courses, and it was the best decision that I make. So you definitely can test out. So you're saying, okay, and it's called credit by exam, if you want to know. I'm going to, let's see here if I can. I'm going to share something else on my screen here. That way I can really kind of show you guys. Let me stop sharing for a second. 1 second, because I've got some, some things here. Okay, let's see here. Look at all these things that are open on Zoom. Let's see. Let's open a new screen. Let's go to Google. And you can type in credit by exam. Right, and let's do CLEP. And see what we get. Study.com, that's the one I was looking at. So testing out our exam, these courses generally will be, there we go. Let's see what we get here. So you can come in here, go to study.com, guys, and it will show you all the different college level examination programs, all the different courses that you can test out of, okay? You guys can also use Excelsior. And by the way, Excelsior will take you whether you're in the United States or not. You guys should take advantage of that. And they're actually quite cheap, right? As long as you have a Pearson VUE Center where you can go and take your exam, you can do that. So here we go. You guys can go to excelsior.edu. Now, when you go to Excelsior, all you'll do is you will enroll to be a student with Excelsior, and then you will courses by exam. Sign up for courses and credit by exams. You find the exam that you want, you study, okay? They will give you resources to help you pass. You study for those exams, you go and you pass the exam, and then they give you credit from Excelsior College. Excelsior is a accredited college, guys. It's a legit college, like people want me to say, right? I'm trying to use all this slang and be young again. Legit, it's legit. So you can use this one. You just study for the exam, you take the exam, they send the results to Excelsior. Excelsior gives you transcript and say, oh yes, so-and-so, oh Linda, she passed English, psychology, this. These are all her units done, right? So you definitely have all of these options, okay? So let's go back to my PowerPoint. Unless, of course, you want to spend, unless you want to spend 2-3 years, that is absolutely your choice. I am not against that. If that's something that you are comfortable with, then hey, I say, go for it, okay? All right, so I hope you guys can see me. I hope you can see me. Let me pull myself up on here. There we go. Now I can see myself, at least I want to make sure. So that is the first thing you can test out of courses. Okay, whether you're in nursing or not, actually you can test out of courses. It is acceptable, but this is not something that your guidance counselor in high school will teach you, right? But all the homeschool kids, let me tell you, the homeschool kids, I'm a homeschool mom, I homeschool my daughter. We know about all of these different pathways for our children, right? Because we teach our kids in non-traditional ways. Okay, so you guys need to start thinking about other non-traditional ways of learning, okay, instead of putting yourselves in these little boxes all the time. So the world is changing. Everything is going online. Everything is going virtual now. Before, when you heard people say, oh, you're going to school online? I mean, it just had this, oh, she's going to, guess what? Every university in the United States of America is making sure that they are set up online. So what you're going to see is a shift, right? From these traditional ways of learning. Now everyone is going to virtual types of learning. So those people that had that old mindset where they absolutely hate online programs, they're going to have to change with the times. Everything, the world is changing. Look at the news. Look at the news. Okay, let me not veer off, Let's go back to where I was. So, like I said, why should you quit your day job? Don't do it, right? So now let's look at online places where you guys can take your classes. This is good whether you are a someone who lives abroad, right? If you're, I don't know, Africa, wherever you are right now, that's going to see this. And if you're in the United States, you can actually take a lot of your prerequisite courses for nursing and for medicine. I'm going to say it twice. And people are going to say, oh, no, yes. They don't teach you this. They don't tell you this, but you can take them online on a virtual platform. The best one, I only advocate for two. Two of ones are the best. And I know I'm not getting paid by these schools, right, to talk about them. I don't get paid for even sitting up here talking to you guys and sharing this information. This is my free time that I have, said this is what I'm going to do. And I can see the time is moving, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. So you can use Barton Community College online, and then this Educan online. One thing I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be taking your courses online, no one is going to be your babysitter, guys. No one is your babysitter, okay? You need to remind yourself to turn in your assignments. You need to remind yourselves to do your homework. No one is going to be sitting there reminding you every second to do your work. You need to be disciplined. And in fact, every one of you should be disciplined. If you're trying to go into nursing, you need to be disciplined, period, right? But this is an option for you. And let me take you to Barton Community College and Educans because I want you to see it. I will leave the links below as well. Here are the websites here. Barton Online, educan.edu, bartoncccc.edu. Go there and you can see all the courses that you're going to take. I'll just take you to bartoncccc.edu because time is moving today. Let's see here, guys. I'll stop my screen share for 1 second while I flip over, okay, to a different screen. So let us go to, let's see what we have here. I am interested to see. All right. So, okay. Let's go ahead and stop the share right now. There we go. Guys, guys, forgive me because I am also still, I'm still learning the Zoom system myself, right? So sometimes I forget that I have to flip screens a little bit, okay? So some of you have my cell phone, please text me. If you're not seeing something, please text me. So this is Barton Online, guys. Look, okay? You can come here because most of you, I'm telling you right now, if you're trying to get into certain classes, they're going to be full. They're going to be full, right? So look at Barton CC. Let's just take a look at what these classes have to offer. And then you guys are going to tell me, you know, I'm going to go to the one for the full session, which is 6 weeks. This is absolutely amazing. All right, see. Do you guys see the list of courses that this is an accredited college in the United States of America. When you guys sign up for this school, right, you are a student. You can look at the classes on here. Let's focus here. College Chemistry 1, Chem 2, Organic. Some of you are already saying, oh my gosh, you cannot take chemistry online. Yes, you can. You get a lab kit. You get a lab kit and you will be doing the labs in your kitchen. You will get credit for a lab. You will do the labs on your own in the kitchen. Teaching yourself at home. I'm a homeschool mom. That's what we do. We teach our own children. My child does not have to go to school to learn. My child can excel even more right here at home, right? So same concept. You're going to get a lab box. You're going to get instructions and you are going to learn. Look at this, college chemistry. You couldn't get into a chem class, but I'm sure the English, history, nutrition, Spanish, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, pathophysiology, everything you need to get into a nursing school is right here. Barton Community College online. Okay, so you have to utilize your resources, guys, and stop excluding yourselves from opportunities just because you don't see the right way. Think outside the box, find different ways of doing things. The world is in a totally different place, completely different place. So this is what I advise you to do. If you're stuck and you need to complete certain things and you need certain things, take this down, whether you're here or in another country, right? Take this down, get the information, call the school, email the school, sign up, see what they say. Don't rule it out just because you hear it's online, because you're going to be left out of so much because you have this thing about things that are online. That's where education is going. The future, Bill Gates, okay, was at a conference and he was mentioning how the future of Africa is online universities will be everywhere. By the year 2050, Africa will have online universities, right? Fully online universities, right? High numbers, and they will be very successful. That's the future that we are heading to. So, like I said, and then the other one is Educan. Let's go back to my screen. The other one is Educan, but I'm not going to, if it's right here, let me highlight it for you. I'm not going to get into it, but you guys have it here on the link. You can, I don't know, flip back, rewind, do what you have to do and go down that way. So these are all non-traditional ways, okay? So I've given you some 2 secrets here that nobody knows about. You can test out of these courses anywhere, or you can take these courses online and they will still transfer. These are the 2 places where I say if you're going to do that, do it. With CLEP, you can CLEP. We like to CLEPing, or go to educan.edu or bartonccc.edu. The best. This is what I advocate for. It's worked for so many people. It worked for myself. I did it. Yes, I did it. I wish, before I thought of this, I should have gotten my transcripts so I can show you guys my transcripts. you know, but I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance to do that. Okay. So let us move on here. So you guys learned something today. I hope, right? So, you've got all your MSN specializations. Well, moving on, guys, because time is moving. This might cut me up, but if it does, I love you guys. And hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow for another great session, right? Nurse practitioners, we've got CRNAs. Here we see that your grades and your reputation are everything, right? You want to be a CRNA in the future, you better start thinking about your grades now. For those of you that don't know what a CRNA is, I'm going to simplify it. This is a nurse in the United States, right? Who works as a nurse and who does nurse anesthesia, okay? So in other words, you have the anesthesiologist, but now you have a nurse that actually does some of the same roles that the anesthesiologist does, pretty much, okay? And they're called a CRNA. Okay, to get into a CRNA program, you need, if things haven't changed, you need 1 year of ICU experience. No, you don't have to work in ICU 5-10 years like the older cats will tell you, because remind you guys, we have got, we've got the old school cats, okay, that pretty much, they don't like young people venturing out, doing things like this, right? So no, you don't need to be in ICU 5-6 years. No. Those were the old days, right? You can be there 1 year and then you can apply into a CRNA program, right? Whether you stay for 1 year or 5 years, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you a better CRNA or not. The studies just don't show that, right? That's just what we've always said, but the research doesn't support that, okay? But anyways, your grades and your reputation are everything, because it's competitive to get into. You need to have good grades. So what am I saying? Guys, if you totally screwed up your undergrad, so many people have. If you know somebody that didn't get the grades that they needed and they're just kind of stuck, this is what I'm going to tell you. Start over. Start over. Don't waste 5-10 years waiting because you messed up in one place and your ego is so high up there that you don't want to start over, that you don't want to retake certain classes. That all has to do with ego, and it has to stop. Start over. Take the time up, if you've got your BSN and you want to go do your CRNA program, go for your master's. Go for your master's. Prove yourselves taking those grades. Prove yourselves that you can actually complete something and do well, right? Don't apply with your BSN trying to get into, I don't know, like a UCLA. Your undergrad has got a 2.8 and you're just like, oh my goodness, well, I took all the prereqs and I aced it, because they're going to look at your background and they're going to say, well, dude, you got a 2.8 GPA for your bachelor's, what does that tell us? It tells them that, how do we know that you're going to be serious and do well in our program? But if you swallow your ego and your pride, go back to school, okay, and do well. Now, yes, you have an undergrad where you screwed up, but you have a master's that says you've got a 4.0. And now you sell yourself and say, look, I have a 4.0. Look at me. I've done well. This is what I have done. And they're going to look at that. They're going to look at that. And you know what? You're most likely, you're going to get into the school of your dreams, whether it's a nurse practitioner or a CRNA. Now, if you're one of those nurses that says, I don't care, I just want to get into any school. I don't care. I just want to get into any school where they'll take me with the least requirements. I mean, that's not right. But if you're like that and that's what you want to do, hey, but if you want to get into the good schools, guys, where they will find clinicals for you, I mean, you will have so many options out there for yourselves. Guys, I'm telling you from experience, make sure that your grades, students, if you're watching this, your grades need to be up to standard, right? You've heard it said, but it really does affect you when it comes to grad school. It makes a really big difference. As far as the prerequisites, it's the same thing, right? Use the system that I showed you. If you're an adult and you don't have, if you're an adult and you want to quit your job so you can go sit in a classroom for 4 or 5 hours a day, then go ahead. But if you've got kids like myself, right, and you have a family to feed, and then use the system that I showed you. Take some of these classes online, test out of some of these courses, and move on with your life. Okay. Right. So there's all sorts of pathways. You can go from an ADN to an MSN, a BSN to an MSN, an ADN to a DNP. Guys, there's so many pathways that you can take in nursing. It's excellent. Then you've got your DNPs and you've got your PhDs. A DNP is not a PhD in it, and a PhD is not a DNP. Two completely different situations, right? So what can we say here? The DNP prepares you to practice. It is practice focused. You are translating research that the PhD found into practice, right? Whereas the PhD, your goal is research focused, finding new knowledge. You are trying to find new knowledge to advance the science of nursing. Whereas the DNP will take that new knowledge that the PhD nurse has taken and translate that into the practice setting. Do you guys understand that? The DNP is not the doctor of nursing practitioner, nurse practitioner. These are not all nurse practitioners. Some of them are, but they're not all nurse practitioners. They are just taking evidence and translating that evidence into practice. Whereas a PhD, they're research focused, right? We need both. We absolutely need both, right? So you're asking yourself, well, should I get a DNP? Should I get a doctorate or should I get a PhD? What should I get, right? Should I get a DNP? Well, why not? Why wouldn't you? Only 1% of nurses currently have a doctor of nursing practice. This is alarming because if only 1% of us have a doctor of nursing practice, guys, think about it, right? Then only these DNPs are the ones that are on the forefront, right? For fighting for all of our rights, trying to get us to get paid more money, right? They're the ones that are into policies, regulations. They're on the forefront, okay, fighting for us. And only 1% of them are DNPs. No, we need more people to get their DNPs. We need more people to get into healthcare policy and changing the way nursing is. And I'm going to tell you something. This is big, especially if you are in a country, I'm not mentioning any countries today. I don't even want to mention any continents today, right? Your key to changing the way nursing is on your continent, in your country, is for you as a nurse to be more educated, right? When you stand up there as an educated nurse before Congress, before your senators, before judges, and you are Dr. So-and-so, and you're fighting for this cause for the nurses in your country to get paid more. Unfortunately, the way the world works is they look at titles. They look at those titles, and that is credibility for you, and people will listen to you. So if more nurses would go for higher education, forget about all these nurses that say you don't need a master's, they don't really understand how policy works, how nursing works, guys, okay? And I might get cut off, guys. So that's the thing. So if you want change, especially in nursing, then that's something that you have to think about. You need to go for higher education. It is absolutely the best way, okay? Across healthcare systems, DNP nurses are influencing change. But why is there so much resistance across the board? We'll never know. Anytime there's change in our profession, we got these resistors, and it's usually the older nurses, right? These resistors that just don't want change. But guess what? Change is going to come. Look around. Look at the news. Change is coming whether we like it or not, right? It's either we decide to adopt to that change, right? Or resist it and be miserable, because either way, change is going to come, right? So DNP nurses, you need them. You need these nurses, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so. You need them. How are you going to change policies? Right? I'm not saying that because if you don't have a DNP, you can't change policy, but let's just be real. These nurses learn and they study this. They know how things work. They go to school for this. They are trained and prepared to change policies, to change practice, right? To change systems, okay? That's just a fact. So we're done. Guys, if you need assistance, right? I'm just going to say this, right? If you need assistance, you guys, I feel like I was like asleep or something. Let's change this there. Okay. So if you need assistance, you guys can, you have my details. You have me on Facebook. You have my email. If you need guidance, whatever you need, you guys know. If you have a question regarding all of this, if you have a question regarding all the little shortcuts that I kind of posted on here, you guys have everything that you need. You can always call me, email me, leave me a message. I will get back to you. I do. I try my hardest, but when I have like 50 emails, it takes like time for me to get back to you guys. So whatever you need, let me know, right? And remember, guys, the world is changing. We all have to change. We as nurses have to change the way that we think about our future. We have to change the way that we learn, our vision for nursing. We have to change, and we have to, you know, just if things are not going the way that we want as nurses, we have to learn to do something about it, right? And so that's what I do is really to try to inspire you guys to think bigger, to think more of yourselves, right? To see that you have such a purpose and a calling as a nurse, that the work that you do is so great and it's needed, right? All over the world. Think about it. You can go work anywhere in the world. When you become a nurse, you are an asset. You are an essential worker that can go work anywhere. Everyone wants you, right? So let us all, wherever you are, let us all work to change nursing for the better for all of us. You know, let's work to change policies, you know, so that we can all succeed, so that the future of nursing will be even greater, you know, than what it is today. All right, guys, I love you guys, and I will see some of you tomorrow if you decide to join us. But if not, everything is recorded and you will have access to it. Goodbye.